Is it just gonna be you and I?
So it's going to be you and I today. They are changing. I have no idea if you have kids in the school system or not, but they are just changing back to in person. So what we had for a schedule has completely changed. So it's going to be you and I recording it, and then I send it to the counselors, and they will share it with all of their students through Schoology. So this is actually going to reach more students than we had originally intended. So
Uh-oh.
hopefully you spent some extra time on the spit shine today.
I should have asked in advance.
That's okay. That's all right. So, Andy, tell me about your career with Dahl and in automotive.
All right. Well, not your traditional way, I guess, to get into car business, but the summer before my senior year in college at UW Milwaukee, a friend of mine said, "Why don't you work at the car dealership for that summer?" Um, so I said, "Well, that sounds like fun." So I essentially, for the first month, I was on the lot being a lot attendant, moving around cars, and just listening to the sales managers at that time, getting cars ready to go, clean for delivery, we call it, rearranging the lot, that type of stuff. And after about a month, I was finding myself talking to the customers that are on the lot, and the salespeople were saying, "Hey, don't do that." Long story short, what a week after that, I asked to be in sales and joined the sales team. And a couple weeks of sales training. In my second month, I was selling cars, and in my very first month, I sold 22 cars and made some decent money. So I'm like,
Wow.
well, I get paid for selling cars and meeting people. I had a blast. It was, I'll never forget it, actually. It was, and then I just kept doing it. And what I found out, it's not really sales because people are coming to you to buy cars. You just got to help them buy cars. So if you love people and you like networking and just getting to know people, it was an easy job. And
Yep.
that was 18 years ago. So I was in sales for quite a long time in Madison, and I don't know what else to say besides I kept on the progression chain, was a sales manager, team leader, sales manager, a used car buyer. I was in finance, doing paperwork for people that bought the cars. So you got the sales people, you got the sales managers, and then you got the finance or business managers. So I learned everything. And long story short, here I am then. I was promoted to the general sales manager, which was in charge of the entire sales department, finance, sales, inventory. And then did that for a long time in Madison, met my wife, my now wife there. And I grew up in La Crosse with our owner, Andrew Dahl. And so long story short, in about 2014, Andrew kind of planted some seeds and asked me if I'd ever want to move back home to run this store because he was on his succession planning where his dad was going to retire and Andrew was going to be the dealer principal. And Andrew, who I grew up with, was the general manager of the Toyota store. So he asked, I'm like, well, I love Winona. I love home, but, Madison's my home now. And we loved it. We loved going to the Badger football games, basketball games, being really involved in that community. And, my wife and I met at the dealership. But he's, said, hey, this is what I got. I'll send you to the dealer academy in Washington, D.C. So it's like the college to learn about the car business. And it was 6 weeks out there where I learned to, or he told me you would take me there to learn how to operate a car dealership. So through about a week of talking it over with my wife and the dealership there, we did a huge leap of faith and says, you know what, we're going to move to Winona and I'm going to learn to operate the store. So now I'm the general manager of Dahl Toyota. And we're glad we made the move. It was a risk, but we found a home here in Winona. We love Winona. We have 3 beautiful daughters that are going through the school system here. and there's not a better place to raise a family. So it's all working out, being in the car business, for 18 years now. So.
Wow. And
Yeah.
are you still a Badger fan?
So I am, but I'm a sports fan. How about that? Sports fan.
I'm not loyal to anyone, but there might be people watching this who will be curious about that and whether you're a Packers fan. You knew that was coming, right?
Which is people think so Packers are my number one and Vikings are number two. And I have a story about why I love the Vikings. I was able to be at a Fellowship of Christian Athletes event. It's been about 3 years ago now, where I met Adam Thielen and Kyle Rudolph and a handful of the Vikings. And I learned about how amazing their culture is, about how they give back. So, and we've been to a lot of Viking games. In fact, in 2015, I've been to more Viking games than Packer games, even though I went to the Packers playoff game last year when they lost to the Bucks and Brady. So I'm just a huge sports fan. I love teams that have good cultures, and the Vikings definitely do. So that answers that.
There you go. So a little bit of both. Well,
yes.
Hopefully that'll make all sides happy. So, yeah.
They just need to get a Super Bowl.
Well, I think we all maybe need a normal Super Bowl as opposed to anything else. So, yeah. Well, I will say you kind of, hit on some of this when you were talking about the Vikings. About 5 years ago or so, I went to a presentation that the chamber did with the Dahl brothers, and they talked a lot about their history, but they also talked a lot about their company culture and just the kind of person that works at Dahl. And they have put a lot of thought and invested a lot in finding the right person and making sure that when they have the right person, they take care of that person and, bring them up through the ranks if that's where they're going to be going. So if, we spend a lot of time talking to students about, sure, you want to do this or that or whatever, but if you are not going to show up to work or openly communicate with your supervisor or be a good team player, those are the kind of things that your company and your bosses are looking for more than anything else. And I really have seen that demonstrated through that presentation, and then just at the times that I've been at any of the Dahl dealerships.
Yeah, I mean, to speak to that, that's one of the one of the three reasons why we did move here is because of Andrew's commitment to building leaders and having a servant-based culture. Like, my job as the general manager of the store is to truly make sure people are happy to come to work and all their obstacles are out of the way. That's how I simplify things. So, and yeah, I mean, I've been a believer forever that culture trumps strategy. So when your employees are really engaged and really happy to be at work and it's not really work, they're going to perform at the 100 or 110% level that you want everybody. So it's that simple, and the Dahl family's got it for 111 years. They've been committed to giving back to the community. They've been committed to building us employees as leaders, not only just with our team here, but with our family at home, and then being involved in the community. So we stress each one of our team members that they're involved in some way or another, whether it's at their local church or the Lions Club or Winona Community Foundation, Maureen Miller, whatever. Just find a passion if you don't have one, and most people do because of kids or whatnot. But just give back, because that's how we exist, and communities thrive that way. So it's pretty cool. We're really intentional that way, and I guess that's why we have a lot of people that are very passionate and prideful to work for the Dahl family. It's pretty cool stuff.
Yep. So it sounds like you've worked just about everywhere at a dealer. Maybe not in the shop. Did you work in the shop and I missed that?
No, I lead the shop, but they know a heck of a lot more than I do. I'm just here to make sure that their obstacles are out of the way and they're happy to come to work.
They're happy.
And they have all
Yep.
the tools they need.
So then, shop aside, Tell me a
Yep.
little bit about what typical tasks and activities are for different roles at the dealership. Like, what is a day in the life, so to speak?
Okay. Well, that's a. I have all these thoughts right now because there's every day is different in the car business. I truly think it's the best business in the world because we literally have we have 6 businesses within our business, if that makes sense. Okay, we have new cars, we have used cars, we have the business office, we have parts, we have service, and we have detail. And every one of those departments have a different dynamic and a different skill set required to be successful. Um, and I think that's the trick to build the right chemistry that we all communicate effectively. And when you brought that up, that's the number one thing within our business is communication and cascading the information. So, I mean, yeah, we all sorts from a lot attendant to a porter to a technician. Technicians, it's a very, very fruitful job. It's a skilled job, and it's an occupation where we need more people. Our cars have thousands and thousands of moving parts, and they break, and we need people to fix those. And that just seems to be an occupation that it's kind of going under the radar, but it's the number one requirement in our lives because we need to get to work, right, and to support our families. So we need transportation,
Yep.
and that goes to our mission statement: just keep people moving. Very simple.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm a little bit partial that my favorite department in any dealer is the detail department.
Yeah.
Because everybody loves it, but you don't think about it when you get a new car, or they detail your car at any point, and it smells nice, it looks nice, it's wonderful, and so that is very much a behind the scenes role. But not many people think of it. But man, I love that person, whoever that is. They got a great job, and we love them for it.
Yeah, I agree 110%. Our customer satisfaction scores are extremely reliant on our detail department and how our cars are when we sell them. And it's hard work, and they definitely work. And yeah, I have three kids and a dog that shed, so I try to get them to detail my car quarterly, and sometimes they're like, "You got to take better care of your car if you want us to continue doing that."
Yep. When I drop off my car for service, I always ask where I should park it so that it accidentally gets detailed. Nobody ever gives me the the location, but that's okay.
Yep. Yeah.
So then let's talk about different levels of education or training. You did mention the sales manager. Was it sales manager university or the training that you took? But what other things do people need to or could consider taking to get into the automotive industry?
Okay. So, business management, business classes at whether it's a tech school or a 4-year school always helps, but it's not required. If you talk to a lot of car guys, they maybe just kind of stumbled upon the business and then saw how neat it is and how different it is every day. And there's some potential for some decent earnings in the car business. So, the only mechanics need the skill set. So whether it's a 2-year degree at Southeast Tech or whatever, but there's a lot of ongoing job training too. I mean, it's our cars change every year, and the technology just always evolves, and to stay ahead of it. So it's a nonstop process and an ongoing training, going to different certifications, different classes, whether it's the Toyota or it's OEMs or tech schools or our parts suppliers. There's just a lot of ongoing training. So, business manager, you know, we typically like to see 4-year degrees in finance or finance degree, but again, it's not necessary. We like to hire the right people and then trade them accordingly. Because not every dealership runs the same type of culture or runs the same type of operations. So there's different systems each dealership uses. So we're all independent. We're all different. So I just like to hire the right people, right? And that's not on anything on paper. I like to have a one-on-one conversation and just ask questions, and that's always worked for me and the departments that I've led. So.
I've talked to many HR people, and it's more so than all of the qualifications that you can read on their resume. It's that feel, the personality, their interaction with you. That is more important than anything else, because you can get them the training or teach them what you need them to know for your system or your process, but just having a really great attitude and great customer service, those kind of things just are either part of a person or they're not. And those are the kind of people who are going to get hired if they have those skills. So, yeah.
Yep, absolutely. And in our business, people that are really responsive, and attitude is everything. If you can change the mood of a room, that helps. There's a lot of negativity in our world, and when you just seem to find the positive and the light in every situation, or look at adversity as an opportunity, that's the type of people that we look for. We get over and over, if you're likable, if people trust you, if you're responsive, people know from just getting that quick feel if you got passion and your heart's in it. That's what it comes down to, in my opinion. So.
Yep. So I think another thing that Dahl does really well is that customer service focus. There's little things, like if you stop in the service department, you'll see that there's a couple of bikes for you to use that, while you're waiting for your bike to be, or your car to be fixed. The other thing is Dahl very much supported the creation of that bike trail that goes up from there. I've done in the past, in another role that I was in, I worked with the staff at Dahl, and we did a free car seat inspection clinic for the community. And so there's a lot of ways that Dahl works on taking care of customers' needs, and that's an important thing. I mean, many businesses, but especially automotive, it's really based on your customer experience, because when they walk out that door, if you didn't do a good job, not only are they not coming back, their friends aren't coming either. So that's an important thing to know about such a customer-focused industry.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly. People have choices. They can go to any dealership they want, and if we don't set ourselves apart and truly care and take care of people, they don't have to come back here. So, and again, our missions, keep people moving. So that's everything that we do, is just to make sure that guest keeps moving, whether it's a bike, whether it's for shuttle, or in for service, or a shuttle ride from one of our shuttle drivers, or even using a car to go run an errand while their car is getting serviced. It's everything.
It is. I will say that when because I was there almost a full Saturday with the crew doing that car seat fitting clinic, and the guy that was leading the service department, he said, "Pull your car in," and he did a free oil change for me while I sat there all day helping people get their car seats inspected. That was amazing. Didn't even have to ask. Thank goodness it was time for an oil change. He did an amazing job and took care of me without even being asked.
Oh, that's awesome. Love it.
Yeah. I made sure to send a thank you to, I think I was talking to the marketing person that day. We were the ones who spent most of the day there. So it was a pretty, that, and Dahl went out and bought some car seats, because some car seats that we came across were recalled, or they weren't the right fit for their child. And Dahl had just an extra supply of car seats there, so that if they couldn't use it, they were given a free one instead. So, I mean, those are the kind of things that make loyal customers, and they got that down.
Yeah, there's no doubt. There's so many things that we do that are under the radar. Just again to keep people moving. It's truly um, the the mission behind everything. So that's great
Yep.
to hear. I love it.
Yep. So let's talk about demand for the different areas in terms of, is the demand growing? I know that during COVID, car buying kind of was up and down and up and down and all over.
Yeah.
But overall, what does demand look like for employment in that industry?
Okay. Well, it's been great. I mean, we've been very blessed through the pandemic. We only had about 6 weeks of uncertainty where we met every day, multiple times a day. But we were deemed an essential business because again, frontline workers need to get to work and they need to get to work by their car. And if their car is not running or broke down or needs an oil change, so we were blessed in that part that we were able to retain almost all our employees. And so to answer your question, mechanics is number one. We're kind of in that transition. There's a lot of things that came out of this pandemic where people are buying from home and we're doing home deliveries. So there's been talks that you don't need to have a dealership or you don't need to have salespeople. That's not true. In my opinion, based on what I know, it's just because you still need someone to walk through features and do the paperwork, and it may eventually go to online like Amazon, but it's not like there's a lot of moving features in cars and they change all the time. So we'll still always hopefully need to have salespeople in the business office and our parts suppliers to get make sure we have our parts on hand for the cars to keep fixing, so they're not in the shop for more than a day or two. But if I had to rank them, mechanics number one, detailers are right up there, and then just leadership qualifies because again we train the right people that want to lead, and we'll find roles for those people or train them on our culture. So skill set definitely mechanics.
Yeah, very much so. Well, I know. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that have shifted to online, but I still think that there is, and maybe I'm not in that generation that buys. I buy a lot online, but to me, I would still need to be there in person and sit in the car and, how does it feel? How does it drive? Can I turn around and holler at my kids and still be able to see what I'm doing?
No, you're right. I mean, and I forget, a car is the second biggest purchase people make. So it's not like even though I heard stories that people are buying houses sight unseen, you're right. You gotta make sure it fits your needs, your space constraints or whatever, and the comfort and the gas mileage and all that. So hopefully that never goes away.
Well, many people still enjoy the experience, so that alone means job security for quite a few people. So.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's fun shop for cars. I mean, if I was in the market for a car, I would drive a lot of different cars and just to see, in other manufacturers too. I'm surprised people don't do that as much. A lot of people are, they love their Fords or they love their Chevys or they love their Toyotas and they stick with that because that's what they're used to or that's what their mom and dad or their family bought. And, so.
Yeah. Well, so any last advice for high school students who are looking to find their right fit?
Yeah, I would say know your personality type. Know yourself to lead yourself is kind of what I like to say, and know your team to lead your team. Meaning, like, just there's so many directions you can go, and somewhere along your journey you'll find that passion. Like, I found it as a lot attendant, as a part-time job going through college. That wow, I love talking to people and meeting new people that are looking at a car on the lot. So I knew my passion was meeting people, whether it's so I could sell cars. That was just the side thing, So yeah, just know yourself and just figure out your passions and then go with it, whatever that may be.
Great. Well, thank you. I'm going to stop recording here, so we'll have this in a recording version.